of all the things I expected when I opened up a chapter of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, it was surely not a man getting fisted. What's up, guys? I'm here to do a breakdown and review of chapter 175 of Four Knights of the Apocalypse, which is known as Dispatching a Sorcerer. And now I think about it, it just hit me. I just finished recording a live reaction, and it just hit me. The title of this chapter technically works in two ways. And it is a quality chapter. Actually, does a lot happen in this chapter? It feels like a lot happens in this chapter, but it's also a very action-heavy chapter, I will admit. It's one of Nakaba's where he like sits down, picks up the pen, and is like, hey, I'm about to show you some motion. Motion of clean, quality, and variety. And we got some motion of queen? I mean, kind of, sort of, but clean, quality, and variety. So let's not waste any more time, and let's hop right into it. Editing me. You ready? 3, 2, 1, go. I gotta stop doing all this weird stuff at the start of the intros, bro. I'm on the back. What's up, guys? That guy with a pencil here. Fun fact, I do mean to have it on me and keep it on me at all times. And another fun fact, if there's one thing that I feel like I can always give Nakaba, is that when he wants to do creature designs, let me try to think off the top of my dome piece. Is there a single Nakaba creature design that is a fumble? I can't really say that, because even like the simple ones that are just animals, right? Like, let's go, for example, with Hawk and Wild, for example. That's just a boar and a pig. They're still good designs. Like, they're simple, they're clean, they're well executed, and they perfectly fit the Nunatsu no Taizai style. So it works. For the more complicated yet still at least somewhat, creatures that have a general basis of them, such as, well, actually, a lion is just a creature. But, like, essentially, I'm thinking of, like, Nakaba whenever he draws dragons, for example. Still, very clearly stylized to Nakaba's style. Obviously, of course, the mangaka is going to style his designs in the way that he makes his designs. But still, very, very well done. Very, very peak. I love all of Nakaba's dragon designs. And even when he gets fancy with, like, lions and typical other exotic animals, I think it's really, really cool still. And Purgatory Beasts, it's something Nakaba, he just refuses to miss. He refuses to miss on his freaky creature designs / his animal designs. Because this is a mix of both. Obviously, these are just like generic-ish animals mutated and evolved to match the whole Purgatory aesthetic. A multi-armed monkey and a really big bug. I am not a, whatever you call a bug scientist. I have no idea, and I'm not gonna bother looking it up. But essentially, whatever you call a bug scientist, I don't know what it is, but it is clearly just a big old bug with hands and long legs, which we'll get into, and just a multi-armed, as we find out, 8-armed monkey. So, like, it do be like that, would it be like that? But still, really unique designs. I'd love to, honestly, if Nakaba would do it, it'd be such a waste of time, so yeah, he never would. I'd love to see how some of these creatures did just exist in Purgatory, though. Especially this one. What is this thing? Oh, this looks like, oh, it's so nasty. But let's not waste more time. Let's hop right into chapter 175, Dispatching a Sorcerer. So, we open up, we do get to see that my brain was like, don't say go through, don't say go through, don't say go through, man. I wish I had, like, whenever I do those pauses, I wish I had like a subroutine play or like an instant replay of what's going on in my brain, because my brain was like, it's not go through, it's not go through, it's not go through, it's not go through. But like the question that would run in between every single one of the statements of it's not go through is, then what's his name then? What's his name then? Capitone. I don't know why. And obviously that's a good reason why it could not be go through. If anything, it'd be hilarious if go through was just a rock. Like, remember how he revealed himself to ultimately just be a rock when they first encountered Beltreep after the Bourse incident? Like Gother was like, hey! And he revealed that he had used his spell to turn himself into a rock. It'd be hilarious if he was just another rock. Just chilling. Imagine if he's the sea. Imagine if the chair that Beltreep is sitting on, it's just Gother holding an eternal squat because he can't get tired. He's like, don't worry, Beltreep. I'll keep you nice and close. But Capitone declares, Turret has summoned a horde of fearsome creatures. How will Gawain address this menace? That is a good question. Honestly, part of me, even with the results of this chapter, I think base Gawain could have handled it. Like, I assume this is what we call base Gawain, right? Like, Mini Wayne. Like, Mini Wayne probably could have handled it, but I do like when we have this chapter instead of that. However, it's interesting. The issue with Purgatory Beasts is that if you don't... But then again, it's the issue. You have a lot of things in Four Knights if you didn't recently Sins. And even then, I have an issue with it because I just don't know how strong are these things. Because, like, sure, we have our freak exceptions. There are some purgatory beasts who can go band for band. Well, not band for band. The Demon King beat him every time. But could go band for band with the Demon King in the cases of your wilds. And then there's purgatory beasts that can get diffed easily. There's no concrete power level for purgatory beasts. So, like, sure, they have menacing designs, or as in bug, tusk monkey, and but, like, I don't know how powerful these things are. I think that's the one issue I have with Purgatory Beasts and how commonly they're being used by Camelot. I like that they're being used a lot by Camelot. Purgatory is like the second most unexplored realm in, wow, is that even true? What if we, like, outside of that one chapter, what if we actually, in that little bit of Cursed by Light, what if we actually see it in the Celestial Realm? Because, like, I thought that, well, no, because we do have a Prisoners of the Sky. I believe it's also the Celestial Realm. Like, we do. So, yeah, I'd say Purgatory is, like, which is funny, because we spent a whole bunch of time there. Is it second least? Because Megados is, well, I'd say the Fairy Realm was once the second least, but then we got a lot lower on that. But essentially, it's an underexplored realm. I'm happy we're getting more and more of the creatures, the diversity of it. I'm very interested to find out what's, like, making the creatures now. Because, like, it's confirmed that the Mother of Chaos, aka Chaos, or aka Hawkmama, was, like, then again, no, because Hawkmama was free. Chaos was free of Purgatory and was just trapped in Hawkmama for a while. So, like, I guess they do this auto recreate, but still, I'd love some more concrete understanding of how powerful these creatures are. They look menacing, but their strength is like shrug. I don't know. Let's see. We have all of them hit their Pokemon noises. Ugh, like, the reason this thing bothers me so much isn't just because of the multiple eyes and pupils. It's the fact that it's literal arms coming out of its mouth as its tongue. It is disgusting. However, we do get to see that Turret is not playing these games. He's like, you disrespected me. You, how dare you hurt my pride? And then he proceeds to hit them with the, it's time to eat. Don't even leave the bones behind. So, Turret, yeah, he lost his good mind. But essentially, he really wants that desperate, devious lick back on Gawain. And ultimately, he's probably not just going for this just because of specifically Gawain, though obviously Gawain is going to grab his nerve. Remember, with Rufus out of the tournament, in Turret's mind, he's the only guy who can kind of secure anything just now. And Gawain just slaughtered, or possibly incapacitated for who knows how long, the main creature that Turret was using to support Deodana. So, like, right now, Turret sees himself as the last line of defense, and he's probably doing his darndest to scare anyone else he would be going to fight out of fighting him too intensely by having his beast go as vicious as humanly possible on Gawain. Because then by doing that, bada bing, bada boom, maybe anyone else will be mental hacks trying to fight Turret. And that'll give him a massive advantage, which will allow him to help Deodana. So, like, technically, he's doing the right thing here. It is just crazy to see him be like, beast, eat the child. But let's see. We see Gawain lock in, and the beast lock in too. They lunge at her. And this thing is so... I said the thing with an arm, or like sets of arms for a tongue, is like the most freaky, but this is a easy second runner-up. Y'all, why does it have hands? Why does the weird bug thing have hands and super duper long legs? Like, oh, it's nasty. I'm assuming it's like supposed to be a mutated grasshopper. I'm thinking a bug life is what's coming to mind when I think of that. But like, or not even grasshopper. Like they made something, but still, it is so nasty looking. But one thing I'll admit. He's ripped though. Look at that. That's not even a six pack. Wait, no, it is a six pack. Like, look at that 6 pack of abs right there. Like, he built. I can't knock his hustle. He got them gains. But with that being the case, the beast stabs for Gawain with his leg. Gawain leaps into the sky and flies up, avoiding it. The 8-armed monkey immediately goes to attack with all 8 of its arms, but notably Gawain does pretty easily weave through all of them, dodging, seemingly enough, in front of all these swings, but still dodging perfectly anyway, avoiding any and all damage, any and all contact. And finally, you know what this reminds me of? And you know what? It's completely different vibes too. It reminds me of early series. What's his not? No, Dale is the guy from the first series, the father of Gila. What is Nasia's grandfather's name? I genuinely forget. What is his name? I'm not gonna look it up, but essentially, order. There we go. It reminds me of Ordo's like weird mutation in terms of how it makes me feel. It doesn't look at all like it, but like that weird, uncanny valley, unnatural, nasty look. That's what this creature embodies as it proceeds to launch out, seemingly enough, possibly, and I say possibly with not a grain, not even a few grain, but a bag of salt, possibly light beams, or it could just be highly pressurized bodily fluids. For any of my original Ben 10 fans out there, you'll remember that Stinkfly can like fire his goo at different pressures. Maybe this is just a really high pressure version of that as it blasts, but Gawain still mostly big chilling and dodging everything with no real effort. And that's the one thing I'll admit. Gawain in this fight doesn't seem to be putting in a whole lot of effort. I wonder why. But of course, we see as Gawain bobs and weaves and dodges. Capital is like, what a relentless barrage from these monsters. Gawain just barely avoids it all, which is somewhat true. Like, you can see Gawain is actually a little bit tense here. She does not try to chant as she moves too, meaning that she may legit be stuck out of luck and like has to do what she ends up doing later on. But even still, it is actually kind of crazy to see Gawain get pressed by these enemies. And post time skip, base Gawain ain't no joke. She actually can get kind of devious when she needs to be. So don't sleep. But with that being the case, we do get to see that the cast and crew is now a little bit worried. Gawain! And very specifically gets mad and says, "What a coward move!" And to that I say, have you drank your water today? Whoa, that was delicious. Drink your water, folks. But with it being the case, Anne says, "What a coward move!" And I find it so funny. It's like, okay, so he's a coward for hiding behind his magical summonings. You know who else in your crew? I was so much. You know who else? Wait, maybe. Hold on. Let me take another sip. Let me see. Maybe I can hit it. Let me sit up. Let me crack the back. Let me let the lungs roll out a little bit. You know who else hides behind their summons? Kaya! I can't hit the muscle man voice perfectly. But essentially, they're saying it's a coward move, but like, you have a summoner on your squad. That's all Kion does. I mean, he can fight a little bit. And I presume Turk can fight a little bit, but like, of course he's going to rely on his magic like everyone else would. So like, come on now. I wouldn't say it's a coward move, because it's a common way of fighting now. Maybe in the original series when there was like no other summoners, I'd be like, okay, yeah, that's a bit cowardly. But no, in this series, you got a summoner on the main squad? Nah! He's just using game mechanics, bro. Don't hate his hustle. Let's see. Oh, and then this is the most we've gotten of the big B man. Sorry. Please make it big ballin' boys. As Ballin himself speaks up and says, "They best stop this before she's killed." And we see Hauser. Admittedly, I'm genuinely not sure how much of this is just off the one interaction he had with her yesterday when in the free for all. I was just like, oh yeah, she's crazy. Or like if he got a report or something. Because remember, Hauser doesn't actually know Gawain. And I think this would be, outside of yesterday again, the first time he's ever actually seen her fight. Because remember, Hauser was taking care of Edlin for all of part 1. He only comes back to Leonis and becomes a Grand Holy Knight, well, seemingly after the end of part 1. Meaning he wasn't there for Gawain's introduction. He wasn't there for the Gawain's Spellguard fight. He wasn't there, obviously, in the Demon World. He wasn't in any place to actually know Gawain's power or abilities. So I do wonder if Melios was just like, hey, since you're heading out there, may want to read this paper. Yeah, she's a little bit of a handful. Because he is right when he says, "He screamed bloody murder if they did." And we see Ballin obviously knows that there's some sort of deeper care going on here, and just decides to ask, "You know that? You know that girl? Or what?" And we see that Hauser, for a good reason though, and that's why I'm proud of Hauser, he does immediately pretty much stay vague, as he says, "I'm her guardian of sorts." We see Ballin declare she's facing 3 huge monsters in that tiny arena, all with intense power and speed. For a sorcerer who needs time to cast spells, the lack of distance will be lethal. So, this is this is interesting. And let me tell you why. The interesting thing here is that he says for a sorcerer who needs time to cast spells. Now, you may be wondering, have we seen other sorcerers who don't need time to cast spells? Yes, kind of. We've seen Merlin. Obviously, she's the strongest sorcerer in all of Britannia. It's to the point where Meliodas believes that they would have an actual shot against Camelot, as in they being the seven deadly sins themselves, if Merlin was still around. Clearly, she's in a tier above every other sorcerer, but even she did occasionally need time to cast some spells. So it's interesting that Balin, seemingly enough another very powerful magical opponent, does admit that sorcerers do just have this innate weakness. And it is extra funny to know, because in this universe, obviously, everyone has their own unique powers and abilities anyway. Like, we have Hauser with Tornado. We have, obviously, our main casting crew with their different abilities, from Anne's truth-seeking ability to Donnie's not teleportation, his levitation and manipulation and telekinesis, obviously Nasia's royal blood. Like, there are already characters with unique abilities who can activate them without chanting. So it seems like being a sorcerer in this universe, while it does give you the diversity of a variety of spells, obviously Gawain can teleport some of the elements, make her spells invisible, make her spells random and tracking. Like, she can add all these extra details to them, but ultimately, that casting speed is a genuine issue. And unless, once again, little Gawain literally could not handle it and need to do what she needed to do, then it looks like her next big step truly is becoming better. Overall understanding how to do her thing to the point where she doesn't need to do those extensive chants, where she can keep evolving. And she's already clearly gotten stronger over the past 2 years, but it seems like she can still get even more powerful as a mage by figuring that out. It does make me wonder if Balin himself is a mage and notes this, or if he is just a brawler who's fought mages before and knows how to handle them by essentially making sure they're never able to chant their spells. Regardless, very interesting little detail here. And we see that Hauser, very, very playful, once again, is like, very true. If she were a normal sorcerer. Which, once again, I don't know how Hauser knows, presumably just a report, but I do love the playful confidence that Hauser has in going. He's like, oh, trust me. I know exactly what you're saying. I know exactly what you're talking about. Well, unfortunately, you don't know exactly what we're talking about, so you're about to get bamboozled. And boy, then we get bamboozled. Because Turret is cheesing. Turret is happy. Turret is grinning up his storm like, oh yeah, look at me, I'm Turret. And Turret, as he smiles with his flute in hand, begins to, dare I say, I don't want to say he just starts yapping, but he kind of starts yapping as he says, floating around isn't going to help you at all. What happened to all that bravado, eh? And we see all the different beasts. They posed up a little bit. They're like, yeah, we haven't hit you once. They haven't tagged her. Not at all. But they're all posted up like, yeah, we gonna do it. Yeah, we gonna eat you. No bones at all. And we see Gawain is like, you must have forgot whose group name is on this manga. As she declares, I am much kinder than I may seem, which is hilarious, yet also true. Gawain is actually a pretty kind character. Like, she's a freak. She's very freaky. Very freaky. But she's still a really kind soul. And it says, I am much kinder than I may seem. I'm not here to torture innocent creatures. That is, besides the one that hurt Anne. Meaning that ultimately she may have gone for what she gone with, not very specifically because she couldn't handle it in her small form, but even though these are purgatory beasts, monsters, and creatures beyond typical human comprehension, he doesn't want to just randomly hit animals. And also, it could just be some straight old-fashioned smack talk right to Turret. As Turret goes on to freaking geek and say, that's your excuse? Was it you just begging for your life? Of all the pathetic sights. And Turret. There's no way on this good green earth you saw Rothus in the very last fight, mind you, in the very last battle, Rothus get all hefty, get all big, get all confident against an unknown enemy, and then get their cheeks clapped so viciously that you really thought you were that guy. You were that individual. You thought you were that person. You just got on Rothus for being so overconfident. And look at you hitting the, no, I'm so hit. No. I'm sorry. Turret, it looks like you simply weren't familiar with Gawain's game. And Gawain is going to make Turret very familiar with her game. As she locks in. She hits the whoosh. Hold on, let me hit the sound effects real quick. Whoosh, wong, whoosh, and boom. Big Gawain has returned. Now, of course, we have seen Big Gawain in her big form previously in this outfit. Notably, she's the only one who didn't actually really get a new time skip design. She had a new one in her dress and her hairstyle. But unlike Percy, who gets a new fit, and who got a new fit, Don, who got a new fit, Nasian's, who got a new fit, even if it's the variation of the previous fits, and even if Donnie's fit is just a reuse of House's old fit. Still, they all got new fits. Gawain did keep this fit. And it makes sense. Notably, this is one specifically tailored for her, magically, to keep up with her transformations. It was only based on the same kind of magic that Escanor's clothes were eventually based on. And if anything, that's fine. That's cool. And it's nice to see post-times of Gawain finally enter buff Gawain mode. And notably, as we're going to see, she does not leave this state immediately. She doesn't just puff up, bang, and then dip. She stays like this for a while. So once again, the exploration of Dawn and its abilities and its variation upon Sunshine and Sun, the original magics, I'm still very interested to see. It feels like Nakaba is playing very vague on purpose with like the implications and abilities of this magic in particular, considering he knows that a lot of us fans of the original series are itching and scratching to figure out how it works. Considering, like, you know, Escanor is one of the most popular characters of the original series, and Mael is also one of the most popular characters of the original series. And being the only character to essentially have like a direct holdover of sorts from the original series to now, I'd say Percy doesn't count at all, because he doesn't have a previous incarnation in the previous series. Lance, he has completely different abilities from his parents. And especially like how he uses them, he does not. He has fairy abilities like Elaine did, but he uses his completely differently, and obviously has different magic from Bond. Unless you think he has a variation of Snatch, it really depends on what Hazy Moon actually ends up being. And then Nova / Tristan could also just be an offshoot of Mel and Elizabeth, but even then, it just seems like unique in its own way. Like its own freaky way that we still don't understand just yet. We actually may have never even seen Nova up to this point. We just know it's called Nova. But Dawn is very specifically and very clearly just a different variation of Sun or Sunshine. So it is interesting to see it finally back in action. Gawain in part 1 went for a really long time without accessing her buff form. And she mentioned it's because she didn't store up enough energy. So 2 years of energy storage in her own realm. I do wonder how long she can maintain the beef. But we see she does hit the beef and gets super duper swole in the fit. And then I love everyone's reactions here. Specifically Balin. Once again, it's just because I just love my glory. He's just so cool, bro. I just love Balin. But Balin's like, oh, I did not realize that she could get that swole. And then I do find it funny. It's kind of, I mean, I guess it's just because maybe they're reacting to the Blitz itself, but it's so weird to see like the Percy platoon in particular be like, y'all, you saw her do this yesterday or the day before, like yeah, y'all, this is her thing. Y'all know she can do this. In fact, you know she can even do it quick. Like we see in the quick Percy vs. Gawain fight from a few chapters back. Like this is just part of her kit. This is in the bag. Like, you know she can do this. But they're all shocked. Gunny especially. Look at the eye bulging out the socket on that boy. As both Beltreep and Capitani look on. Thanks to their masks, it seems they're mostly indifferent, but I'm assuming they are also a little bit confused, considering, you know, they probably have never actually seen Gawain fight. Beltreep knows of Gawain, but he hasn't actually seen her fight, probably. And the rest of the crowd is silent and confused as Gawain lunges. She hits the dash and makes it go fast. And very specifically, to her credit, she does not attack not a hair on the head of any of the purgatory beasts. As the one goes, hi, as he looks for Gawain, Gawain beams straight through the ball. And I love it. Once again, she goes for the punch of doom, dog. Like, the punch of malice, agony, despair, and desolation. Because she reels back with all her force. And look at the size comparison here. Look at the size. She is like 3 turrets. And Turret's not a small guy. He's lean, muscular, but like, he's still a relatively tall, muscular dude, but he just gets dwarfed by Gawain, who lunges through all the beasts and then just buries her face or her fist into his face. And the one thing I like the most about this blitz is that you can clearly tell that Turret could not perceive it. This is flat out, I dare I say, a full-scale perception blitz. Because Turret still has a big old grin on his face. He's not laughing anymore, so maybe he noticed something. But he has the look of, huh? But before he can even react slightly, there's not even like a little spark of reaction that we typically get when a character at least somewhat reacts to a blitz. No. He just gets absolutely demolished. Fist impaled into his face, smushes it down, blood pops out his nose, his teeth pop out his mouth. Gawain did this man hard. And she beams, bro. Straight boom, Krakatoa. Now, speaking of Krakatoa, I'm not sure if this is an intentional design callback, but if you'll remember in the Estarossa versus Escanor fight, there's a specific moment right at the end where Escanor throws down the cruel sun on Estarossa. Everyone always knows the panel of Escanor holding up the cruel sun, but if you remember, there's the panel of him throwing it down. That's what this pose and this motion reminds me of. The same anger, the same focus, but of course, there isn't any use of Sunshine itself here outside of the buff itself for like raw physical stats, and obviously she's not attacking with like magic or cruel sun. I literally just said that, but essentially, I think that's somewhat a callback to this, and we're going to get another Escanor callback later on. Once again, is really interesting. I'm very intrigued on Gawain's nature still. And you might be like, oh, what about Gawain as a character? I think Gawain as a character is interesting as well, but it's clear that Gawain herself also has qualms and issues with her nature that Mortlock never got to answer. He ain't never snitch. He just held on to her. So, like, realistically, the mystery of Gawain is just that, a mystery, and I can't wait to get more and more of that. And seeing her, even if it is purely subconsciously, parallel Escanor is also really, really nice. But with this being the case, she hits them with the Krakatoa and beams bro so hard that she shatters the stadium. Splits it straight down the middle. Though impressively for turret and honestly the stadium wall, well, it does split everything. Well, I'll get to it in a second. As we see the Purgatory Beasts. Well, no, people need to literally save people from falling into the gap caused by Gawain's meteoric impact. The Purgatory Beasts are looking shocked that they got blitzed, only to immediately vanish out of existence. And we see Gawain still very, very nettled. Obviously, she does not like turret. Very, very nettled as she reveals, crush the sorcerer and all his spells vanish. Simple common sense. You kidded yourself with your monster strength, but that was never your power. Yeah. But the thing I was going to mention is, no, she splits the stadium, but doesn't actually put turret through the wall. Meaning the stadium wall is more durable than the stadium itself, as it was the shockwaves that went through Turret's body, or through the rock that Turret was on, that shattered the stadium behind them. So that is actually really, really cool. Obviously not the craziest strength feat, and it definitely sounds like, once again, we saw Meliodas with an outline. But still, crazy. And like I mentioned, this chapter's opener is multifaceted. Dispatching a sorcerer. Ultimately, just like I mentioned, why are y'all saying that's cowardly? Kion's a summoner too. Ultimately, Gawain says, crush the sorcerer and all his spells vanish. Common sense. So, ultimately, there was a sorcerer who was dispatched today. Just definitely was not Gawain. She dispatched her deviously. And notably, he's alive. She did spare his life, but darn, she put that man out. Laid him out on his back real good. And we see that Gawain drops a bar of all the pathetic, shameless, and unbearable sights to see. She hits the, look at her. And hey, I'm happy to have big Gawain back. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm cool with small Gawain. Like, it's fine. But I just like the dynamic of tall Gawain. I do prefer overall to small Gawain. Even, like, aesthetically, I just do prefer the larger, bigger, beefier, more muscular design. Especially considering, like, for the most part, her head stays pretty much exactly the same. Well, actually, notably, no. She develops a lot more solid jawline. Typically, when she's drawn in her small form, she has a much... Let me see if I can find a good panel. Like, typically, it still is the same head. But notably, when she's drawn sometimes, especially in, like, the anime concept art, she's very specifically given a very rounded jaw. But here, it's a much more defined. That's like the one thing that changes. It's a very sharp, pointed chin. But still... It is still just the same design, just bigger. And I think it just looks more interesting than Mini Gawain. Mini Gawain is kind of funky looking. So, like, I always will prefer big beef, roided up by the sun Gawain. And seeing her hit the pose, seeing her done that talk, that was amazing. And we see she hits the other Escanor pose. This one is very particularly, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it's from a chapter... page. It's from a title page of a chapter. It's not actually in a chapter or in a fight itself, but it's Escanor pointing up to the sky, one fist down, hitting the you know I'm him. Check the gains, gang. And we do get to see Gawain pulling off a very similar pose, except she's raising her head up instead of pointing it to the side. I forget exactly where that chapter is, but that is the Escanor image. It's when he has the Lion Son of Pride tattooed on his back. Like, ultimately, that is the, like, Escanor pose, quote unquote, that she hits here again. Once again, how much of this is subconscious, how much of this is actually taught, how much of this is her fragment, or if it's not even a fragment, how much of it, if it is a forcefully trapped or reincarnated version of Sun, how much is influencing her, I have no idea, but it is nice to see her all happy. It's just, Caprioni declares, the winner of the Block B's first match is Gawain. And she hits the, I rock, check your girl out. And that indeed she does. And she's like, wow, she sure is good. As Donnie's still, oh, sweet mother mercy. She could diff me. She could diff me horrifically. What am I even here for? But we see that Nasian's in this, and admittedly I was going to get on Nasian's case, but Nasian says, oh, shockingly so, yes. Nasians, I get it. You just got with your grandpappy. You just finally unlocked abilities beyond typical human comprehension because you're literally not even human. I get it, Nasians. But at the same time, like, Gang, really one of the 4 knights of the apocalypse? You didn't expect her to be that shocking, that good, that top tier, that next level? She's been training for the past 2 years. But at the same time, I don't blame Nasians because I think this may legit be his only fighter reference. Right? Like, I'm trying to think. I don't think Kion and the Donners were there. No. Who was there the Pelgard fight? I genuinely don't. I feel like it's Tristan. It's because by that point it's the 4 knights. It's the 4 knights, and Gawain steps up to try to take on Pelgard. So Pelgard humbles Gawain, mostly in front of the knights, and then the others don't really. I'm trying to think. Where are all the Gawain fights? That's the thing. She doesn't get too many fights as far as one. So my whole point here, it makes sense that Nasians actually is a little bit surprised considering he's never actually seen Gawain fight. I don't think. Even in the end of the Demon World arc, I think Nasians was focused on his own objective, or I think at that point he may have been petrified or paralyzed or something. Eventually, he never had to see Gawain fight. So this is the first time he's actually gotten to see Gawain in a serious battle, and not just playfully sparring with another one of her Knights of the Apocalypse. However, allow me to take a sip. We see poor Donnie, made to be the errand boy. And she says, yo, Donnie, go fetch that trash turret for me. Which is hilarious because these two both have telekinesis of some sort. She easily could do it, but she's like, Donnie, you do it. And of course, Donnie's like, me? Why? You ain't my boss, but she kind of is Donnie. As Gawain is approached by a certain somebody who be ballin'. And they declare, you make my heart race, young lady. I look forward to taking you on. Ballin is actually treating Gawain in her capability, which is very, very interesting because remember, her first interaction with Ballin was very specifically her doing a maximum output exterminate ray, her maximum potential, and Ballin has been like, and immediately negging that bad boy. So I am also very intrigued to see that fight. I hope Gawain wins, but at the same time, I could definitely see Ballin pulling out that dub, because depending what he pulls out on his current opponent, as we see. Well, actually, no. He's fighting Hauser. I was hoping like the next page would be a smooth transition, but I do remember. No, we get the Ballin backstory, the Ballin lore. What everyone kind of already figured, but like, except for the training armor, I don't think anyone expected this guy to be like legit out there. Dun, 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 dun. But yeah, he is in fact. Whoa! Look, it's Ballin. He do be Ballin, the winner of the previous Gladiator Festival. In the final, he whipped Gareth without being touched at all, but he refused to leave the cauldron. He went on a training journey, they say. Which is interesting, like, I guess it's kind of the safest place to train. It really depends on if you can perish. If you can perish in Camelot. Because, like, realistically, wouldn't it be even better off just leaving and fighting stronger opponents? Like, what if you went and tried to fight Meliodas? Or Elizabeth? Or King? Or Bon? Like, at least the people who are easily accessible. I get maybe not being able to reach the fairy route because, like, there's so many barriers on it. And I get not being able to reach, like, anywhere else. But, like, you could have evaded Leotas, though. You could have run your fate there. It really is a question of how long Ballin's been here and how much knowledge he actually has of the outside world. As long as he's not Lance. I hope he's not Lance, because I actually would have preferred to wait a little bit longer on Lance. I know all my Lance fans out there are like, oh, you want to wait for our glorious King Lance? Kind of, sort of. It builds the anticipation, makes your heart pump in a certain type of way. I'm excited for Lance, but I don't think we need him just yet. As we get all this lore, and then Boris hearing the craziness about Ballin's like, ooh, sounds like real trouble. But of course, Edlin, the tier 1, top of the line, whatever you want to call it, Glazer, the tier 1 top of the line, glazing triple layer cream serving. Edlin gives his Ballin, boring, whatever your name is. He's losing in round 1. My master's going to fight him. The captain of Leonis' holy knights, Big Hauser. And like, Edlin, I want to believe you so bad, bro. I really do. I really do. And but Hauser already had his 5 seconds of fame, dog. He stopped that. He did. He stopped the dragon, bro. That's all. That's all he's got. There's no. I mean, if Hauser beats Ballin, I'll eat a sock. Straight up, straight up. I will grab a random sock in my sock drawer and I will eat it. No seasoning on it. I will straight eat. If Ballin loses, if he somehow loses the Hauser, I will eat a sock live on camera and whatever the review after he beats Ballin. That's how confident I am in Hauser losing to Big Ballin. But with it being the case, Block B, match 2, Hauser versus Ballin. Ooh, you do be Ballin though. Check out the wrists. But with it being the case, we see that Hauser says, not bad. Feels like a party right now, right? And we see Ballin declare, you said it, and I sure don't mind. Now, there was another interesting theory. Someone said this could be Zhivago's son. If you don't remember who Zhivago is, it is actually Bond's father, the adopted father of Bond that was like actually a beastman. Only issue I have with that is like he was dead. Like I don't blame people for seeing like the similarities. Like those eyes, they're drawn very much like Bond. If you were to rip these eyes off of Ballin and put them on a Bond face, like or a blank Bond face, it would work perfectly. I just don't think it's Bond or Zhivago's kid because the kid's dead. And also, I don't think Bond would have cheated with a way to really produce a guy somewhere. So like, unless this is Bond's long lost sibling, I think it is just a design coincidence. As Ballin hits the, you said it, and I sure don't mind. And of course, Capital Knee, he revs up and says, let the battle begin. And of course, Nassim says, this sure is tense, isn't it? As Percy goes, come on, Hauser, get him! And Donnie, the most excited, says, beat him up, uncle! Get him, Unc! As Anne just stays perfectly quiet, because I think she knows exactly what's going to happen to Hauser. As the two combatants lunge in, and they clash blades. And that's the end of the chapter. So, overall, a very W chapter. Like I said, a lot happens in it, but not a lot happens in it. It's one of those well-balanced chapters, where we do get, like, the reveal, or not the reveal, I think, no, technically the reveal of Buff Gawain in the post-time skip Buff Gawain in this fit. We get more lore on the nature of magic and the potency of people wielding magic. We get to see Gawain show off pretty well against seemingly enough quite powerful purgatory beasts. At least Ballin thinks they're somewhat strong. And we get to see just the general weakness of magic, where ultimately once you are knocked out, you're knocked out and everything you were working with goes away with you. All of that is really, really good stuff for the first, I'd say like 3/4 of the chapter. And then the last bit of it is covering Ballin, giving us his lore. And obviously I love Ballin, I love his design. And setting up Hauser to get genuine real life top of the line backshots from him. All that praise from Edlin is going to give him the most vicious reverse spanking ever. But with it being the case, it still is a W chapter. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please do me a favor and leave blazing hearts. Blazing is in on fire hearts. Because that's exactly what Gawain has, exactly what Hauser has. Similar enough, exactly what Ballin has. Leave blaze hearts in the comment section down below. Thank you so much for watching. Or no, I said blaze. Blazing hearts in the comment section down below. I would like to thank you guys so much for watching. Please remember to leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. And make sure you hit that little notification bell so you do not miss out on any videos that come to the channel. Also, I didn't have a Patreon down below where you can support me for as low as $1 a month to get things like exclusive videos, early content, and more. You also now become a member to the channel for as low as $3 a month to get the same perks and more. So those perks will include the live reactions to this very chapter, a nice juicy calm 20-minute live reaction to this chapter, and free variations of all my videos. And if you become a $25 patron or a $20 member, you can order whatever video you want. Also I do a link to my Ko-Fi in the description down below where you can drop 5 beans for a short video, 29 beans for a long video, or any beans at all. Any support is always greatly appreciated. Now, I'd like to thank you so much for watching. Once again, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day. This is That of the Pencil, writing off. I'd like to give a thank you to our sketch tier members: Greyhound, Eternal Flame, Red Wolf 4765, Astro, Super Flame Zero, Brandon Payne, Glacier XC, G Prosper, Planet Crone, and Zeta. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our line art tier patrons: Sean, Midnight Lord 21, Kirai Void, Kevin Encarnacion, Igneel Lind, and A+A. And I'd like to give a big old thank you to our ink tier patrons: Fine, Austin Wimberly, A Uchiha, Yuki Ally, and Carlo Alaimu. Then I'd like to give a gargantuan thank you to our digital art tier members: J Warrior and AZ Void. And then I'd like to give a big old gargantuan thank you to our colored art tier
patrons Overlord Zero, Waki Munoz, and I Demo Kami. And I'd like to give a legendary, top of the line, sublime, sweet mother of mercy, super slopping, juicy scrumdiddlyumptious thank you to our that guy with a pencil tier patron, Calvin Elder.